Chicago P.D. has been one of the most watched procedural shows since it joined the big three of Chicago-based TV shows alongside Chicago Fire and Chicago Med. But Chicago P.D. is set to release its 10th season later this year, and in today's video, we're going to be going over everything we know about the show's 10th season so far. So don't go anywhere because you are not going to want to miss a single second of today's video. First up, Season 9 has been the best season yet, and fans are ecstatic for the 10th season. Most shows that run for this long tend to suffer an unavoidable dip in quality and survive solely on their longtime faithful viewers who refuse to stop watching the show until they get an official ending or cancellation. But that actually does not appear to be the case at all for Chicago PD. Many fans are praising the 9th season for actually delivering one of the most suspenseful seasons to date and finding a way to stimulate the actors in a way that forces them to bring out some of the finest acting in the show and their careers. So what was the magic that Season 9 had, and how can Season 10 recreate it? Well, many fans are chalking up the success of Season 9 to the amount of suspenseful episodes that are present in the 9th season, stating that the episodes are always leaving the viewer on the edge of their seat, and that in order to keep this magic going, the showrunners need to keep the suspense at an all-time high. Furthermore, the show went a bit out of character in Season 9 by having an episode drive a bit close to the edge in terms of the violence showcased during the episode. The episode in question is Season 9, Episode 14, which sees Kim Burgess, played by Marina Squerciati, forced to investigate a string of particularly nasty murders in order to bring a serial killer to justice. The episode does not skimp on the violence and actually did a very deliberate job on pushing their show to the brink of an R-rated show by showing all of the violence involved in these murders. Some fans were unable to watch the episode, and understandably so. A show like this does not usually go that close to the line. But for some other fans, this episode in Season 9 was a revelation. It reminded us that police officers are sometimes forced to work some of the most grisly cases in their city, and they do not shy away from them. They put their head down and do the work in order to get the job done. And while some nights are easier than others, there are some nights that will stay with a police officer until the day they die. And like this episode, it is a night that Kim Burgess and the Season 9 fans will not soon forget. But how can Season 10 keep the magic going? Season 10 has been in the works for quite some time. TV legend and super producer Dick Wolf signed a massive deal with NBC way back in February of 2020, and in the deal he extended the contract of Law & Order SUV, as well as all 3 of the Chicago shows. Wolf found a way to convince the studio heads to sign all of the shows for at least 3 more seasons, which normally would be unheard of, but thanks to Wolf's reputation and sterling resume, the studio was completely unfazed by Wolf's request and was very happy to sign on for 3 more seasons of his programming. So the deal, as we mentioned, was signed back in 2020, and since then, Chicago PD has released its 8th and 9th season, which means that Season 10 falls under that 3-season deal that was signed way back in 2020. So even if Season 9 had been unbearable, we still would have been guaranteed a 10th season. What is reassuring to most fans, however, is that Season 10 was not just a hope for the showrunners, but a legitimate pen-to-paper guarantee, since prior to the release of the show's 8th season, which essentially confirms that the showrunners have been writing the show with multiple seasons in mind and have written Season 10 to be a companion season to the 9th season, which has been one of the better seasons in the show. And while there have been almost no details regarding the premise of the 10th season, we can predict that the quality will not be taking much of a dip come the release of the 10th season's premiere episode. Obviously, the 9th season of Chicago PD is still currently running, so we really have no idea when the 10th season can be expected, but we can reasonably predict that it will come out sometime in early 2023 or potentially late 2022 if we're lucky, but I wouldn't be banking on that. But there is no need to worry because the 9th season is on TV right now, so you still have plenty of new Chicago PD to look forward to. Will Chicago PD get any more seasons after the 10th season? This is the big question. While we had the privilege of knowing that this show was not going anywhere since the 3rd season extension was signed back in 2020, we are not entering the final year and a half of the deal, and we are totally unsure of what is to come following Season 10. And when you look at other shows currently on the air, not very many of them make it past a 7th season, let alone a 10th. Can we reasonably expect an 11th season after the 10th one for Chicago PD? Realistically, I am not sure, but what I can say is that as long as fans are watching, shows continue to be made. For example, Grey's Anatomy just can't seem to die regardless regardless of who leaves the show or how watered down the content has become, and yet fans cannot stop watching. That is because the first 9 seasons did such a great job of making its fan base fall in love with the characters that now a great deal of longtime fans straight up refuse to stop watching until the series finale. And I think the creator of the show, Shonda Rhimes, has picked up on that and is using it to keep this show running for as long as she can, despite the fact that she no longer is the head writer of the show. But I think Chicago P.D. and the other shows in the Chicagoverse, if you will, have an advantage that most other shows do not, and it is the fact that it is a part of a connected universe. For example, the CW's Arrowverse, as fans have lovingly dubbed it, consists of all of the superhero shows that were spawned off of the original superhero show in the universe Arrow. Arrow concluded a few years ago, along with some of the other shows in the universe like Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and Black Lightning. And a few of the shows are still going, like Batwoman, Stargirl, and the flagship franchise, The Flash. Most of the shows have gone on for at least 3 seasons, excluding Stargirl, despite the fact that the majority of these shows lacked any real substance following their first season. The majority of these superhero shows had a great first season and then dipped in quality from there. So how did they survive? All of these shows are in a shared universe, which allows them to have these intricate and massive crossovers that feel like a TV version of the Justice League or the Avengers. While they are fun, they are also a great excuse for showrunners to convince a studio to keep their show on the air so that their characters can return in a big crossover. And I believe that this premise single-handedly saved a big chunk of the Arrowverse shows, excluding The Flash, which has easily been the most watchable of the superhero shows. So I do believe that even if Season 9 was to take a huge left turn and have a truly awful last few episodes, and Season 10 was a huge mess, the studios love it when all 3 shows come together to form a huge crossover. It brings so many viewers to each show and helps keep them alive for longer, as people will see a character from one of the other 2 shows that they like, and that might entice them to go and watch the other series in the shared universe, thus creating another longtime fan of the series, which keeps the shows on the air for longer, which brings the studios more money. So while it may be slightly insulting that the studios are feasting on your love of one show by essentially forcing you to watch 2 more, it most likely will save your favorite of the 3 Chicagoverse shows from being canceled as long as at least one of the other 2 stays good. But to be honest, as long as a TV veteran like Dick Wolf is in charge and the acting can stay this great, I could see all 3 of the Chicago shows being on for a very long time. So, to answer the question I asked you earlier, I do believe that barring any huge changes, I think Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, and Chicago Med will all be on for a very long time. That's all we have for you guys in today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you all in the next one.